we're now in 2023, but I can't help but think back at the end of 2022 when there was this trend going around that I don't think will really get any better unless we stop it, or unless it's called out for what it really is, where women openly, publicly posted videos of themselves all over TikTok and social medias of them openly physically abusing their partners, their men. You know, in April of 2021, the Domestic Abuse Act had been updated from the 1974 Act to include all survivors of domestic abuse. That includes men. It's not women, it's not just women and children, it's all survivors of domestic abuse. So when you see all these trends going around where women are publicly abusing men because they know that people don't care, because they're getting likes and they're getting views and they're getting a lot of clout for it. Nobody's caring. Nobody's making a fuss. There is a bill, there is an actual Domestic Violence Act that protects men and women and children, because it protects all survivors of domestic violence, all survivors, and that includes from everything, from physical, mental, and emotional. And the only thing I think that it specifically states women is the Migrants Women's Act, which is part of the bill. Other than that, it actually does state all survivors. And that does include strangulation, when you are strangled to the point of death or near death. It even states it in the bill. I read it. That bill was passed in April of 2021. What needs to happen as we move through 2023 is support, a viral support for men, for male survivors. In 1972, women decided that they'd had enough of being abused by men. So they banded together and decided to support each other. And they did it through protests and whatever else until a bill was passed. And that was the very first domestic violence bill. It was the very first domestic violence bill. And it protected women against domestic violence. And that's where you saw the first, women's organisations start up. The only way we're going to see a change is if we stand together and actually support men, instead of allowing these women to get away with openly abusing men on camera, abusing men, thinking they're so clever. I abused my partner, I put my partner in the hospital, ha 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 ha, aren't I clever? And getting away with it and not getting put in jail for it, not being arrested for it, getting hundreds and thousands of likes and being praised for it. We need to support the men that are being abused so openly, so callously abused. It's time to show these men, all men, that they've got the support around them, from family to friends to strangers in the street. That if he's having trouble, if he's having a problem, that he can speak about it. He can go to the police. He can report it without fear of ridicule. And even if he is ridiculed, it's not the end of the world, because quite frankly, he's got the support of everybody that matters. And if he just keeps going, he will get the justice that he deserves. It takes an army to change things, and it can't change overnight. It took 2 years for women to get the protections that they needed. That bill is already in place. It was updated in 2021. They've got the protection. Society needs to catch up. And it's about time that we taught women that abusing men is not going to be tolerated. It's just not. We're not going to allow it. We're not going to tolerate it. And they've got the support they need. And when it happens, they're going to go to prison for it. Because just like men, when you're abused, when women are abused, they can fall apart, they can go to jail, they can get the support they need, and the men are arrested, and they get the justice that they need. Well, so can men. Men can fall apart. Men can cry. Men can get the justice, and the women will be arrested, and the women will go to jail, because no one has the right to abuse another human being. No one has the right to be so callous about it. These women who are posting how clever they are for abusing their men, openly, callously, so evil, need to be in jail. And the only way that's going to happen is if these men feel safe. Safe enough to report it, safe enough to be vulnerable, and safe enough that they know they've got the support they need to actually report it without feeling ashamed. So that's what we need to do. We need to give these men the support they need so they're not ashamed of themselves. They can be vulnerable, they can be weak, they can cry, and they can know that we love them and we care about them. And you know what? There is nothing to be ashamed of. Nothing. And these women, they are callous and they are evil. And it's about time we stop them. Because they've got the protection of the law in place already. It's already there. They just need to utilise it. Society needs to catch up. It really does. And that's 2023 needs to see a massive change in the way men are seen and heard. Because they have that already. They've got the protection of the law. Now society needs to understand it's not acceptable. It's not right. And we will fight for them too.